Hey, it's your girl, Carmel Jean-Francois, owner and founder and CEO of CFit Coaching. Welcome back to my channel. So today I have a guest for us, and this guest is especially, it's a treat to speak with her. I met her on social media. She contacted me and she actually left a message on one of my videos after my fitness competition, my bodybuilding bikini competition. And she is a pro. And I was just kind of like, oh, you reached out to little old me. So without further ado, I want to introduce Miss Andrea Younger to the stage. And I'm just going to take this opportunity. I'm going to pick her brains about being a woman in this sport, being a woman of a certain age, training, nutrition. And I forgot to mention the most important, most impressive part. She is a vegan. So we're going to talk about that too. And so without further ado, as I said, Andrea.
Hello.
Say hello to the good people. The good people, please welcome Andrea to my channel. Doesn't she seem so humble? You seem so humble and so. But
as well as I do, this is not a sport where you could be vain. There's no room for vanity in this sport.
It's so funny that you said there's no room for vanity, but listen, I took all my vanity out with this competition. I was like, oh, I'm so cute.
Yeah, especially when you get towards peak week, right?
Well, especially towards peak week. I mean, it can get ugly. It can get dark in a
Yeah.
way where it's just a lot of training, and the training all happens behind closed doors. People don't see it until they see us
Right.
on show, and then we come out and basically everything that happened behind closed doors is there and exposed for everybody to see what you've been doing and what you haven't been doing, and that's what peak week is about. So Andrea,
Right.
I want in your own words, just quickly introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay. I'm Andrea Russ Younger. I've been competing since 2012. I've been a vegan for 8 years. I actually started transitioning without knowing I was transitioning to be plant-based. I gave up red meat and dairy, well, partially dairy. Man, it's been since 97 that I've touched red meat. And in 2015, I started transitioning as a vegan. And it wasn't anything anyone said to me. It wasn't any movie I looked at or a book I read. It was the way I was feeling. That's how it started. It was the way, just certain foods made me feel. And being a bodybuilder, you know that we pay attention to how certain foods make us feel, make us look. And it was just something that just wasn't right. My digestion would be off. I just couldn't pinpoint it. So fast forward to, I told my coach, I was still competing at that time. And I told my coach at that time, who's now a founder of our bodybuilding organization, which is Onyx, shout out, shameless plug. But I said, I think I want to give up meat totally. And so he kind of made a joke about it. He's like, oh my God, you're gonna be eating beans all the time. And, we laughed about it. But in the back of my mind, I really wanted to do this, but I didn't know what it would look like as a bodybuilder. YouTube wasn't like it is now. You didn't have a lot of people who had platforms showing you what that looked like.
Right. And this
So
was
I
back
just
in
said,
1997, you said, right?
No, this was 2015.
Oh, 2015.
So,
1997
so
was okay.
So YouTube platform was totally different then. Like we had YouTubers, but not influencers, or, people were YouTubing, but not the way they are now. And so it didn't come from that. It wasn't anybody on YouTube showing me, what that looked like. So I really didn't visually know, and I'm a visual person. So I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna try to do this on my own. And I did start pulling up channels that I could find, you know, just how to eat, not bodybuilders, but just how to eat as a vegan. And man, it opened up doors for me of, you know what, all this time I'm looking at all this food, right? And we would focus everything around, okay, I got chicken. What can I fix with chicken? But it became remove the chicken and you can eat everything else. You know, so many vegetables that I would pass over, so many fruits that I would pass over, so many other things that I could use as alternatives to, and there were no rules. And it just really just made me more mature with my palate. So at this time I wasn't competing. So I took a year off, which ended up being 5 years.
Oh, okay.
So now fast forward to 2022, when I picked up the phone and I called my old coach, who's no longer training people anymore. He's putting on shows now. And I said, I missed the stage. I said, but the only way I'm coming back to the stage is if I have a coach who's vegan. And he connected me with my coach now. He's been coaching me for 3 years. And he's also a vegan. And of course, I from this time on, I get the questions of, well, how do you get muscle? Well, what do you eat? There's no way you can have muscle if you're not eating meat, or you don't eat meat at all. And you get, so I tell them, you know what? I don't have to tell you the words. Just look at the package.
Just look at the
And I don't mean
package.
that, and then let's start back from the opening statement that we were talking about, being vain. I don't mean
But
that in a vanity way at
no,
all.
no, how you present yourself. Look at me. You're muscular. You have
I'm
muscles. You've
walking
been able to
proof.
retain. You're walking proof. And I would like to back up a little bit about vegan versus plant-based. Would you consider yourself vegan or would you consider yourself plant-based?
So I'll tell you this. I don't get caught up in the semantics. Because everyone has their idea of what plant-based looks like. Everyone has their idea of vegan. It's just a spin on words. I'll tell you what I'm not. I'm not a meat eater anymore, and I'm not a dairy eater. I'm not a person who eats anything that has to do with having to kill animals. And so that's what I was leading up to. It started out as me not wanting to put it into my body, to me now visually understanding and connecting with what it is to have to kill an animal, to eating flesh, to putting those things in our body that never was intended for us to do. Maybe at one time, as survival, it was something that maybe God had us do temporarily, but it wasn't something that was supposed to be long term. And I can see how it affected me then versus now. The way I felt then versus now. We could bring up age because you put that on the intro, the thumbnail. I am 57. I'll be 58 in May, and I will honestly tell you that it has reversed a lot of things I was feeling as I began aging. I went to the doctor one time. The doctor told me I had early signs of arthritis in my wrist. I was 43 at the time, and this was at the height of my bodybuilding in the beginning. And I said, there's no way I'm going to deal with having arthritis. But in hindsight, not thinking that putting these things in my body was having that effect on me. A lot of signs, my joints would ache, just carrying around inflammation because I was a meat eater and a dairy drinker. Because get this, I gave up milk, but I'm drinking whey protein shakes.
Right. And
that, and that is $1 million industry. And a lot of people don't know whey and casein and all that. It's the byproduct of making milk, making cheese. And it's like the worst ingredient ever.
So many people don't, but many people also consider it's very controversial, right? Because especially with many people, I've even heard doctors say it's good protein. It's quality protein that way. And they swear by it because there is a lot of protein
Yes.
per gram or whatever. But there was something that you said that I wanted to back around to, what you were feeling in your body, the
Mm-hmm.
changes that were happening in your body. Not only are the changes happening, because at this point, I always animated by saying, you know, our bodies, after a while, our bodies is just, I'm tired. You know, you've been
Mm-hmm.
feeding me all of this for so long, and I've been really, really trying to keep up, but I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
And so changes happen as far as that's concerned. You know, you're getting a certain age, your body's just kind of like, I've been doing this all this time for you, but you know, can you feed me some quality food? But to build on top of that, it's that perimenopause, menopausal stages in our lives, with the loss of estrogen in our bodies, our
Mm-hmm.
how our bodies work or don't work is actually amplified because of the loss of estrogen. You
Mm-hmm.
mentioned the arthritis, you mentioned the inflammation, and all of the things that we eat, especially with the milk products and the whey protein. Those all add to the inflammation that we're actually feeling in our bodies. And
Mm-hmm.
you said it before I even had a chance to ask it, but as you went plant-based, you started noticing those changes that, hey, listen, my
Mm-hmm.
joints don't hurt as much anymore. My arthritis doesn't hurt. Real quick story, I'm gonna let you take the mic again. I remember one of my first influences to bodybuilding and having a strong looking body. Well, not one of my first influences was, I was looking through, I believe it's gotta have been an Ebony or Essence magazine. I think it was Ebony.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that magazine back in the days? I don't know if they're
Oh
even
yeah.
still in
Oh yes.
publication.
Oh yeah, they're
And I
still in
remember,
publication.
is it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We were avid readers, but I was probably in junior high school or something like that at the time. I
Mm-hmm.
remember seeing an article, these strong looking women in their workout clothes, and they were all older women. They were
Mm-hmm.
55, 60, 65 years old. And I remember being really kind of like, my mother doesn't even look like that. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I
Yes.
remember I read the article and saw that these women had one thing in common. Hi, Dexter. Thanks for joining us. Good afternoon. One of the things that these women had in common was, all of them, their doctors told them that they were bordering osteopenia and osteoporosis. And if they
Yes.
did not start lifting weights, they were going to
Mm-hmm.
go down that road of really having brittle bones, easily
Mm-hmm.
breakable. And that stayed with me for so long. But all I saw, that whole aspect was just in seeing muscle growth, seeing these strong looking women, and I still had not combined it with nutrition. I only combined it with nutrition only a short few years ago,
Right.
but I'm glad
Right.
that you brought that up. All right, so you started feeling the difference in the changes in the way your body was working. I cut you off in your story so that I can just
No, that's okay.
yeah.
No, I mean that pretty much I mean that's pretty much what catapulted me um into the beginning of it, and then it transitioned into even more of just opening my eyes um from um the I guess moral standpoint of it, you know, as far as killing animals. And
Yeah.
I just see it differently. I am the
Mhm.
only plant-based eater in my home.
Mhm.
My family, you know, they respect that. They go places that I like to go to support it. But
Mhm.
I'm the type of person, when I make up my mind to do something, I do it, and I do it for me. I don't do it because someone influenced me to do it. I don't do it because it's a trend. I'm not doing this because, oh, a lot of people tend to do this because they think it's a quick fix to lose weight.
Yeah.
This is a lifestyle, just like bodybuilding.
Yeah.
This is not something you do because you want to lose weight, because you know just as well as I do, you could still make the wrong choices, or because there's a ton of processed stuff out there as a vegan, or what we call accidentally vegan, um, just as well as you can as a meat eater, and be
Mhm.
overweight, or not even just making a choice, it's just not just taking care of your body properly.
Yeah,
not
yeah,
eating
yeah.
enough or overeating or whatever. But for me, this was a choice that I made for myself. I told my family, look, this is what I'm doing. I'm not on a soapbox trying to change the world. If people
Mhm.
want to ask me questions or they're interested in how to transition, I'm happy to share.
I'm
But
curious, has I'm curious, has any fellow competitor, any bodybuilders ever come to you and said, "Hey, listen, I'm thinking that this meat is not feeling well with me anymore," and asked you for any type of advice or guidance? I'm just
oh
curious.
yeah, oh
Yeah.
yes, yes. It's have they stuck to it? I'm not sure, but yes, I have a few people that will come up to me and they're curious. And I'll tell you what, since kind of off the subject, but not. I've talked to a few coaches and they
Mhm.
have clients who are interested in being vegan or plant-based, however you want to term it. And they tell them, well, no, you need this or you need that. And I tell them, just like you taught yourself how to feed them meat. If they're telling you they don't want to eat meat, it is your responsibility to do your research and
Mhm.
figure out how to change those macros that will meet up like you would put meat in. Am I making sense?
Yeah,
So
100%. And I think it's either his responsibility to do that or just outsource and say, "Hey, listen, find somebody who can give them give them the macros the way they need it." I feel so. I have an
well,
interesting. Go ahead.
I agree with you and I don't. Because I say that because if you're saying I'm a coach to whoever who comes to me and they say, hey, I want, so say for example, I didn't have my coach who's a
Hmm.
vegan, and there's a lot of coaches out there who I admire, and I've watched them put people on stage and I challenge them, and
Hmm.
I don't come from this from a rude standpoint. We've had conversations and I'd said, and they agree with me. I told them it's your
Hmm.
responsibility to help your client and they tell you they don't want to eat meat. So I'll give you a good example. There's a girl who I talk with and she can't have dairy because she has a multiple of health problems. And she was talking to me about yogurt. And I said, girl, there's tons of non-dairy yogurt options.
Sure.
And because she was telling me how she missed yogurt and she can't have it because it's dairy. And so I sent her a list of stuff. And when I told her coach, I said, you need to do your research. I said, she can't have dairy yogurt, but did you know? And he's like, no, you're right. So I
Hmm.
challenge those coaches who are out there, just do your research. It's not
Hmm.
hard. It's no harder than putting in eggs and chicken to track their macros. Then you say, okay, let me put in seitan or tofu and see what the protein macros are in that.
Hmm.
It's not that difficult.
Hmm. I
Okay.
think it also
I was
has to
venting a
do.
little.
Sorry.
I was venting a little, but okay.
No, you're fine. I think it has something to do with their personal comfort level and their beliefs and values. Some people just
Mhm.
don't believe that the quality is the same. So, yeah,
Mhm.
that piece of seitan might have just as much protein as that piece of steak, but I don't
Mhm.
believe that that seitan is going to provide the same quality. And so
True.
you might
True.
not build muscle the same. So I think it stands in the way also of their belief system,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that has to probably be worked on before they can even guide their clients. And then it's kind of like, I have to do research because this person changed their mind. Well, how am I going to be compensated for this extra research? So that might be a factor in it too. Like they already
That's
have
true too.
clients. Where does the time, like, how do I compensate for this? So my
Yeah.
my coach, when I told her I was vegan, and I told her I was plant based. She ended up giving me
Mhm.
macros that included Beyond Burger. And I was like, oh, no, no, I don't do that. Because earlier I asked you plant based vegan, and I feel like it's an
Mhm.
important distinction. For me, it's an important distinction because that's the
Mhm.
difference between me eating a Beyond Burger, which is
Mhm.
processed, and I don't want to introduce that into my body, versus
Mhm.
me having some tofu, again,
Mhm.
processed, but in a very different way.
Yes.
And so she did her research, or maybe she just knew from past experience, she was able to give me a completely plant-based meal plan, which I thoroughly
Mhm.
appreciated. And for me, I valued her even more because of that.
Right.
So I think that's important too, and for the coach to feel that level of comfort and confidence in even giving their clients that type of guidance, because he doesn't know. So how now can he guide, right?
Right.
And
Well,
but
the no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
So the few coaches that I've spoken with, um, it's not that pushback. You know, they want to learn, which is
Mm,
great. And
that's
I'll tell them
great.
anytime you have questions, hey, I'm an open book. I'll be glad to help.
Mm.
So, but you're absolutely correct. I didn't think on that part of just having those blinders on and standing true to their ideologies of, well, no, that definitely can't help you build muscle, so you need to eat this. So
Right.
yeah, there unfortunately there are some who just won't bend.
So so let me ask you a question. First of all, so you've been vegan for quite a while, and you are a
Hmm.
pro athlete, yes? Pro
Yes,
bodybuilder?
yes, yes.
Yes. I don't know if you're seeing it, but I'm spinning for some reason. Um, and
No, I
well,
don't see it.
congratulations on that. I know that takes a lot
Thank you.
of dedication and hard work. I mean,
It's
kudos to you. I am bowing
Thank
down,
you.
queen.
Thank
Excellent,
you.
excellent job. And then again, look at the package. You are the walking proof that not only can you build muscle and maintain muscle
Hmm.
with plant protein, but you are a woman of a certain age. I do not want to not talk about this. Um, Many women over a certain age, Andrea, you've met them, they don't think that this is available to them because of their
Hmm.
age. And it's
Hmm.
interesting because I feel like we made such advancements, and we're talking about this is Women's History Month. We made such advancements as far as we can play with the big boys in the gym, right? We can do
Oh
the
yeah.
sports. Women's
Oh
basketball
yeah.
is getting more notice than ever before in history. And yet
Yeah.
there's a school of people who's like, I can't lift that. Like,
Yeah.
my place is not in a gym. Give me a class. Give me a yoga
Yes.
class. Give me a Zumba
Yes.
class, and I'll be
Hmm.
there. But
Hmm.
free weight. And so, what message do you give to those women, or how did were you ever in that place?
No.
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 Good. Neither was I.
I
I
I
was like, let me at
so
them.
no, so I've been an athlete. I'd say since I was a kid.
Nice.
I played softball, I ran track, I played basketball, volleyball. When I ran track in high school, during that time, our coaches would run us out of he would run me out the weight room because it was taboo for a track runner to lift weights. And so I'd see the guys in there lifting, the football team, they're in their off season and they're lifting. And I was curious and I
Nice.
wanted to learn. And they're showing me, oh, you got to do it this way. And the coach would see me and he's like, Russ, get out of here. And it carried on even once I graduated high school. And at that time, there was a gym called Bally's. And I would take advantage of their little pass, or I would sneak in because I couldn't afford the membership. And I was determined to learn how to use the weights, the machines. And then, time passed in between and I got a little older and I was still determined that I wanted to learn how to lift. So
Mm.
when I was in college, I would go into the weight room and the guys would show me different moves, how to, bench press and squat. And I ended up getting a membership and it just kind of took on from there. Then I became curious about being a bodybuilder. That
Yeah.
at that time, so I was probably 30. At that
Mhm.
time, there were no visuals of what a female bodybuilder looked like. You picked, all they
Mm.
had was Muscle. What was that magazine? Muscle and Fitness or something like that.
Muscle and
I think I was
fitness,
telling
yeah.
my daughter. I was telling my daughter about it the other day. I would get that magazine. I followed the workouts. They had like a section in there that would have workout plans and meal plans, and I would follow that.
Yeah.
I was not that person that was scared to lift. And
Right.
so the Bally's here in Houston, they had a Bally's that on a certain floor was all the free weights. It was all the serious, you know, what do they call the guys? The muscle guys? It's a term. I can't think of the name. Planet Fitness
Um,
always use that, poke fun of them with that term. But it was always
um,
those guys who would be up there. I forget
muscle
the term. It's
heads,
like
no.
muscle heads or yeah, whatever that is. It's another word, but it's so those guys would be up there. So one day I said, you know what, I'm going up there because I want to do this. It was just addicting. And they would give me little looks. It was always the same guys, and they would kind of give me looks. And I started getting acclimated to what I was doing and found I was lifting heavier. And I gained respect by the nods and the, you know, hey, you could work in with me. Like I knew I leveled up when one of the guys was
Mm.
like, hey, you can work in with me if you want. So I asked one day, I said, so what if I wanted to body build? And he just kind of was like, well, you just got to get a coach. But I mean, I didn't know what that looked like. Well, I mean, a coach where? Where did I begin to do that? And by this time I got kids, you know, and I was divorced. I was a single parent and I couldn't afford to have a trainer. So then after my last daughter, who will be 18 this Sunday, I said, you know what? I want to get back into this thing. You know, now I'm married again. I got a little baby, and I was like, I want to get this thing going again because my life turned into happy hours and hanging out, and you know, and I didn't have the body type where I was gaining a lot of weight, but I started gaining a lot of weight. By this time now, I'm in my
Mm.
early 40s. And I've never had to
Mm.
deal with that. And I was like, okay, I don't like how I'm looking. I don't like how I'm feeling. I had a gym membership that I
That's
was just giving them money and I wasn't going to the
yeah,
gym
that's
regularly.
around the time.
And so I started following bodybuilding.com. That's when I started seeing what female bodybuilders looked like. Went to the supplement store, would go there all the time. I was training myself at this time. And I asked the guy at the nutrition shop who we became very, very close and shared information. I said, hey, I need a trainer. He connected me with my very first trainer. Told him I wanted to bodybuild. I did my first show. There was I think they're still around, an organization called Muscle Mania. And at that time, I think everybody did Muscle Mania at least once. And I did that first show. I ended up connecting with another trainer who I mentioned, and his name is Todd Rogers. His name is very known in our natural bodybuilding community. He was my coach for 4 years, and he taught me a lot.
Yeah.
But piggybacking to your opening question, no, I've never been that type of person. I don't know. I was always curious.
Always curious. Yeah, it's unfortunate that a lot of women do feel very apprehensive to walk into a gym,
Oh yeah,
and then the way they're treated too. They walk into a gym. I
yeah.
remember going into a gym and the first thing that they would tell me is about the classes. And they would show
Mhm.
me the circuit machines. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with the
Oh
circuit
yeah.
machines. They're there
Uh-huh.
to assist people who are still learning, of course, and they
Yeah.
prevent injuries. But that was all that they were showing me. They didn't take me into the free weight section. I learned free
Mhm.
weights on my own in my living
Yep.
room. And every time now I go away, I'm in a hotel, I'm wherever, I'm in the free weight section, and I'm usually the only woman there. Still,
Yeah.
after all this time, where I feel like now I see more women at the gym than ever. So I want to know from you, what would your message be to women of a certain age who are still apprehensive to step into a gym
Mhm.
or to pick up a set of dumbbells?
So I believe it's more than just a one part answer. And you said apprehensive, but it's intimidation. A lot of women, I felt that way too, because it's number one, you're intimidated by the weight. because you're not sure what to do with it or how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, you're intimidated because maybe you're not the body you want to be in or the body you visualize. And
Mm-hmm.
so you see those women like yourself and me who are fit and they're not realizing we didn't start out this way. Um, so I think it's more intimidation than it is
Mm-hmm.
apprehension. I think that's the first feeling. And so I would say to women who are feeling that way, you got to start somewhere. You have
Mm-hmm.
to step outside of your comfort zone. Fear is not of God. So if you're feeling fear, that's something other than God. And if He's leading you there to be healthy, to reclaim the body that you were meant to have, get out of that comfort zone, number one. Number two, the biggest thing I hear, well, I don't want to look like a man. I don't want to look, too
Yeah. Yeah.
muscular. This takes time,
Yeah.
number
It's
one.
not gonna happen
It
with a
takes
few.
time. The muscle don't happen overnight.
It sure
Number
doesn't.
two, the level of fitness that we do is not regular fitness. So if you
Mm-hmm.
have no intentions on being a bodybuilder, you don't have to worry about putting on tons of muscle. But even if you do, you don't put muscle on like men because men have a hormone that allows them to have more muscle than women.
100%.
So let's stop that. Let's stop saying I don't want to look like a man unless you're doing something to alter your testosterone. I mean your hormones, which is testosterone. You will not look like a man. And it's not even looking like a man. It's just having more muscle mass.
Right,
Because at
right.
the end of the day, even the women who want to have more muscle mass, they're still women.
They're still
Um,
women and they still look
yeah,
very feminine and very
they
beautiful.
still, yes. So it's a perception that women need to get rid of. It's
I,
it's
it's
a it's a it's a bigotry that we need to get rid of. It's a stereotype of going in the gym and doing resistance training that we need to get rid of as women. Because you don't hear
Mhm.
a man saying, "Well, I don't want to go in the gym and lift weights and I have muscle like a woman." So women, stop doing this to each other, please.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
stop. You said
we are.
you said it's a perception we need to get rid of. And sometimes I'm gonna call some women out. Sometimes it's
Mhm.
an excuse. Sometimes it's an
Yes,
excuse,
it's an excuse. Yes, I've heard it
right?
all. I promise you, I've
Right.
heard it
Yeah.
all. And
Yeah.
um, and say it for what it is. I would have more respect for you say, I just, you know what, I'd rather just sit on my couch and eat bonbons. Okay, girl, I respect that. That's what you want to do. But let's not pull out the card of, oh, I don't want to look like a man. No,
Yeah.
I don't look
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. No. No,
Far
absolutely
from
not.
it.
Everybody, if you have not seen what this woman looks like in a bikini when she's winning her professional shows, no way, shape, or form, nothing about you screams man. Nothing about you screams masculine. You look strong. You look confident. You look
Thank you.
beautiful, right?
Thank you.
And you're very welcome, but you've earned it, Andrea, right? And the hard work that it takes, I think women are scared of that too. Like the hard work that it
Yes,
takes. But again, you're on a pro level. That's such a different level than the bare
it is.
minimum that a typical person would have to do to stay healthy, to retain bone mass as we get older and start to lose it, to
Mhm.
retain muscle mass as we get older and we start to lose it because again of our loss of estrogen. All of those things impact us in a negative way. And the
Mhm.
only thing that can effectively take over what estrogen provided for us so lovingly for all of these years is to go in the gym. First of all, taking care, making sure that what we're eating actually settles with us properly, and start listening to your body and building muscle, picking up a set
And
of
that's
heavy
and
weights.
that's the thing that I want women to ask themselves. It's no different than it. This may be probably a little strong, but it's the best. I'm good at wanting to paint visuals in someone's mind by using an example of something else. But it's no different than when you see someone who's addicted to something, right? Whether it's drugs, drinking, food, your body feels tired. You know, me going to happy hour, my body was like, you need to be, you should be tired of drinking by now. I would feel it. I was a teacher at the time, so I'm getting up in the morning sluggish and to be there for my students, and you know they on a 100 level early in the morning. I'm hungover, and I'm like, okay, do this seat work. Yeah, I had to
Yeah.
change that. So aren't
Yeah.
you tired? Aren't
Yeah.
you tired? You know, it's, don't you have enough of, oh, you know, and it's your body sending you signals, right?
Yeah.
Indigestion, bloating, missed periods, clotting when you have periods, you know, which I had fibroids. And they're all like, well, where do fibroids come from? It's what I'm putting in my body that's making me unhealthy. And my body is telling me that.
Yes.
Headaches. Oh, I don't like to drink water. You're dehydrated. What do you mean you
Yeah.
don't like to drink water? You need water for your brain.
Yeah.
You need
Oh,
water
water
for your
doesn't taste good.
skin, your
Water
eyes.
doesn't. Mm.
I mean, come on. You can't
Yeah.
tell me you go to the restroom and I'm gonna get a little TMI, but you go urinate and that urine don't smell good.
But you know,
So it's,
everything that you're listing, Andrea, has been normalized in our culture. So
mm-hmm,
it's not normal for us to go through that smelly urine, right?
mm-hmm,
And not feeling good, headaches, being tired. People, we use our age, we use, oh yeah, well, I went out drinking, and we accept it as something that's supposed to
mm-hmm,
be cool, and it's
yeah,
celebrated. Oh, she's tired because she was
yeah,
out
girl, I
drinking
had a
last night.
hangover
Girl,
for
yes.
3 days.
Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah, I was
and
one of
us feeling
them people. I know.
and feeling tired and unwell is everybody's story. So if it's everybody's story, I must be normal. And that's
Yeah,
where the problem is too, right? And
yes,
not knowing enough, or realizing that I really should get this checked because this doesn't smell or look or feel normal. And that's a
yeah,
part of it. I got a quick story for you too. What started me on my, I was always like a tomboy, so I was always into
you're,
something with regards to fitness. However, I was 32 years old, and I was that person that you're describing, always tired, going out. I had a 9 to 5, but I also was a brand new entrepreneur, so I had a 5 to 9. And one night when I
mm-hmm,
was hanging out late, I know alcohol was included.
mm-hmm,
Coming home, I fell asleep at the wheel, and I crashed into
oh
a
yeah,
tree, and this is what started. I broke an ankle, I broke my hip. At 32 years old, you break your hip. There's a sign there. There's something is
yes,
happening. How does,
yes,
it's the loss of bone. I was very sedentary at the time of my life.
mm-hmm,
That's when
mm-hmm,
as I was healing fairly quickly. That's when my bodybuilding journey actually really started. So that was, ooh, for 28 years ago, 20 to 18, 18 years ago. Oh my gosh, my math, you guys. I was 32 at the time, and I'm 50
yeah,
today. Anyway.
yeah. Very
So,
similar story. Very similar story.
right.
But I'm gonna let you
So that's
finish, and I'll
when,
tell you.
oh, okay. And so that's when I decided, it was a blessing in disguise, because this is what turned me on to this life. And only a few
Yeah.
years ago did nutrition really, really complete the circle for me. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like 30, ladies, if you're out there listening, moms, if you have young women that are in their 30s, tell them that this is the stages in their lives that they need to start working on in order to ensure that they remain strong and in their 50s. Like 30s and 40s is so imperative. And
Yeah.
I think God caught me right in time and said, okay, we got to change the trajectory of this, because you need to be stronger. You have a message to tell. And it's so important. And as I'm learning, I'm trying to just share it with everybody else. And then when I meet amazing women like you, Andrea, I got to say, let's say this to the world together. So
Yeah.
what was your story?
So that was similar. That was my wake up call. I out drinking with some of the teachers, happy hour on my way home, and you know, ashamed to say, but not ashamed to say, because it's my wake up call. You know, I was a little intoxicated, what I thought was a little intoxicated. And the next morning, my husband's waking me up and he's like, babe, how did you get your tires on flat? I had 3 tires on flat. And I remember kind of like hitting the medium and veering back over in my lane, but I have no idea. That's all I remember. And to sit there and try to put the pieces together, and I'm like, okay, I remember driving home and I saw I bumped the medium, but I didn't think I I couldn't tell you. I couldn't
Wow.
tell you. Having 3 tires on flat was not me just bumping a medium,
Yeah.
and I couldn't tell you, and that scared me. And
Yeah.
from that day forward, it's not to say that I never had another cocktail. I
Yeah.
never allowed myself to get that drunk again.
Right. Right.
And at that time, I was really struggling with wanting to get back in the gym, because I'd stopped working out for,
Mm.
man, maybe 8 years.
Mm-hmm. Like,
And
we
so
have the same
yeah.
story. I told you I was sedentary. I was sedentary for 10 years.
Mhm.
And this is what happened and it was my wake up call to get me right back in, not right back, but back in the game. Oh my God, we do have a very similar stories.
But yeah, I just really, I you said something about just, getting older and not getting sedentary. I just really wish that, even like with young ladies, I hear young ladies say all the time, girl, I'm getting so old, and you're 30. Stop that. Stop
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm at the point in my life where I know I'm older, but I don't consider myself old.
Mhm.
Um, if I wasn't doing what I was doing, I would consider myself old, because I would probably would feel that way. I don't
Oh
feel
yeah,
that way.
I don't claim it at all.
No,
I feel like
and I think I shared this with you yesterday. About my oldest daughter, who who's sensitive about her age, and I told her, when you get my age, you're gonna celebrate it. But
so I
give, give go ahead.
I agree with you 100%. So you can continue your thought, but I did want to ask you about motherhood. I
Hmm.
told you very briefly that, I'm looking at these women in these magazines and I'm like, my mom doesn't look like that. My
Hmm.
mother was very sedentary. She grew up a tomboy, but life happens, right? But she was
Hmm.
very sedentary. And I'm wondering what it would be like to have a mother who works out and then walks across the stage and collects medals because of how strong she is. And so as a mom, my
Yeah.
exact question is, what message do you hope to send to your daughter and other young girls about strength, resilience, embracing their power?
Hmm.
It's you just being you. You said this is the package, and I am walking proof. You are a walking inspiration for not only women your age, but women younger, and of course, young women, because you are raising one. So tell me what your message is to these young people.
Well, I've actually raised 2 daughters, 1 son, and I have 1 daughter that's graduating high school
Okay.
May. So I have 4 children, and I have
Okay.
2 granddaughters.
Even more
And
amazing. Even more amazing.
and it's not what I say to them, it's what I show them.
Excellent.
And they tell me that I've been an example to them, that I've been an
Yes.
inspiration to them. That,
Yes.
mom, I look at, my friends' mothers, and that, as Kendrick Lamar is saying, they're not like us. That it's not something that they see themselves being when they're my age. They
Mhm.
want to be, um, how do I put this? They share with me, mom, I don't want to, lack of a better word, be broken down, or, just out of shape. Actually, my youngest daughter, she comes to gym with me now that she's in off season from her other sports. And she's a little beast in the gym. I'm trying to get her on stage with me before she goes off to college. So
Oh,
we'll see. We'll see. But
that'd be so much
and
fun.
you know, they've practically at this, you know, the time I started competing, they were all in high school, and my youngest, she was a baby at the time, who's actually seen this from the beginning, and it's in her.
Yeah.
So they all work out to some aspect. They're no stranger to the gym. I don't force this lifestyle on them. It's something that if they came to me and say, "Hey, mom, I want to get on stage one day," then I would totally be happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I said, I don't, it's nothing that I have to tell them. They see it. They're around it. You
Yeah.
know, they know. Oh, mom, you know, oh, mom, you get an off meal day to day. Oh, mom, you're on prep. They know. They know this lifestyle. So it's nothing I really need to say to them.
Yeah.
Um, so, and I do, so with that, I want to say, even like moms, don't use your kids as an excuse. When I started competing, my baby was 3 years old.
Mm.
So not only was I was older, I was
Mhm.
43 at the time with a 3-year-old
Mm.
toddler, bringing her to the gym with me, days that she couldn't stay home with dad or her brother and
Mhm.
sister to watch her. Don't use that as an excuse. You know, show your kids what it is to be healthy, because they duplicate what we do.
They
You know,
do.
that we mirror that lifestyle to them, and they'll make better choices. She's already telling me,
Mhm.
well, when I go off to college, I want to make sure that I'm tracking my macros, because I don't want to get the what's the term when we go to college, that number you gain all this weight from,
Some
you
kind
know.
of freshman 15 or something.
Yes,
Is it, yeah,
yes.
something like that.
Hmm.
That is so cute. I love that. I love that. Yeah, and that's the message that you're sending, right? That you could do whatever you want. You can be strong and still be feminine and still be taken seriously, and there's no excuse for it, and nobody should be able to hold us back. Not what society says, not what the boys in the neighborhood says, not what the girls and your friends and anybody says. So I love
Right.
that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. So I want to talk a little bit about what your nutrition looks like, what your plate looks like, if you don't mind sharing. Just maybe a couple of
Sure.
favorite meals, how you put your meals together.
So in the beginning, my coach would send me meals. You know, it's us getting to know one another.
He would
We're
send you
both his.
meals.
He would send me my meal plans. He
Oh, your
would, you
meal
know,
plan.
he would
I
type
thought
up
he
my
was
meal
literally
plan. Yeah.
sending you
No,
meals.
no, no. I would be so lucky. No, he would give. He would. No, right. That would be a blessing, right? No, he would give. In the beginning, he gave me my meal plan.
Mhm.
So I do have a background of being a trainer, and you know, I came with knowledge, but I allowed him to do him. And so after that first season, and we're going into off season or improvement season, however you want to term it, he said, "Hey, would you rather for me to send you a meal plan, or would you rather me give you macros?" And I said, "I thought you never asked." So with, you know, I do my own meal plans now. He just gives me the macros and I follow them. So right now I'm still in improvement season, but we're on a mini cut, which is, yeah,
A
not fun
mini
right
cut.
now because I feel like I'm on prep and I'm not on prep.
Okay.
But
Okay. Okay.
yeah, and we're doing that for a reason, because we don't want to go over a certain amount of pounds or be at a certain weight when we do start prep. As you know, it's hard enough. And when I'll go back to that. I don't want to get off the subject, but so mainly it's my meals are pretty consistent. In the morning, it's oats, fruit. I usually do like these sausages that are seitan sausages. Um, Pretty much the same thing. I have like seitan is my main staple for my protein
Okay.
source. Veggies, nut butters.
Yes.
Nothing exciting.
Nothing
It's
exciting. I
pretty much
think
the
it's
same
all
thing. Rice
exciting.
cakes. Well, I say nothing exciting because it's pretty redundant, and you know that
Oh,
this can get very redundant
oh
as far
yeah.
as eating.
One hundred
But the
percent.
reason, like I explained to people, our friends, like I have a good friend of mine, and I just explained to her that you want to be consistent, because we need to know if I eat something that's not what I normally eat, I'll know how it affects my body.
Oh,
I'll know
yes.
if I get bloated, or I'll know if, hey, they gave me a great pump, I want to eat that again.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I eat. I love
You're breaking up a little bit. I can't hear you. I didn't hear you. You said you love, and I was waiting to hear
I'm
what
sorry.
love.
Yeah, I had a
What you
call.
said.
Yeah, I had a call coming
Okay.
in. I love avocados. I
Okay.
love peanut butter. And
Love peanut butter.
I love
Any
peanut, and I
almond
love
butter.
bananas. I can eat bananas every day of my life, and oats.
Mm.
Those are my favorite staples. And I do eat bananas every day. But those are my favorite staples.
Those are your favorite staples. Any
And
particular
yeah.
vegetables that you love?
Um Not really. I don't have any that I love, but I eat an array of vegetables. From spinach to so I really can't eat broccoli because it bloats me a lot. But
Yeah.
yeah, spinach, Brussels sprouts, cabbage. Sometimes I'll make like a little stir fry with tofu, and um yeah, I don't have like a favorite veggie. Um
Mhm.
but I eat a lot of them.
Okay. And so, so right now you're kind of in improvement stage, you said.
Mhm.
Okay. So your meals kind of like the same and typical every day during your improvement stage as well?
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. And then I'll get a refeed. So I refeed on Saturday. When I get a refeed, I'll eat something that's off of what I normally eat. Which I know you probably frown on this, but I'll go get a burger and some fries.
Well,
um,
I would get a
and then
burger too, but my burger would probably be more vegetables. When
yeah,
they put the
yeah,
veggie patties together.
yeah. I'm a little more dirtier than that, but yeah. Um, and
I
sometimes there's some vegan restaurants around here that I'll get different things. I can't really tell you what they are. It just depends on what my mood hits. But once again, I just try to be consistent on what I eat. So I'll know if I'm eating something that's off that I don't
Mhm.
usually eat. And I'm like, okay, I know not to eat that again because that made my stomach upset or what have you. So
Mhm.
yeah, for the most part, it's pretty mundane. Every now and then I
Yeah.
might grab a donut, but um, we try not to eat a lot of sweets. Um, so
Besides the donut, what
unless
else? Besides the donut, what other sweet foods or sweet treats do you like indulge in, or do you
mm,
like?
my favorite is Oreo cookies.
Oreo cookies.
Yeah,
The Oreo
yeah.
cookie is the perfect cookie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm here. I'm sugar free, but let me. They they're so
I ain't
good.
gonna lie, girl. At the show day, I'll probably I probably tear a whole roll of those up. Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, I. So it's funny. I have sleep obstructed apnea. I don't know how
Hmm.
I got it. My windpipe has collapsed, and so I have to sleep with a CPAP machine. So I
Oh, okay.
called the sleep doctor to get a different mask because I'm not gelling with the first mask they gave me.
Okay.
And she's proceeding to tell me about things to help improve my sleep. And she
Mhm.
says, okay, so she says, make sure that all the things that I do, right? She's like, make sure that, oh no, we got on the subject of hot flashes. That's what happened. We got on the subject of hot flashes because I told her that, sometimes I'm having hot flashes, so I have to take the mask off, and it's just a whole thing. So she's
Yeah.
like, make sure that you're not eating a lot of sugar or you're not drinking sugary drinks. And I said, baby, no disrespect. I said, but I live a life as a bodybuilder. So all these things you're talking about, I don't do that. I said, I may do it every now and then, but yeah, not to the point where it's disrupting, my health.
Yeah. 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 Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I had that experience when somebody, oh, during COVID, I think, when I forget what happens. I end up on the phone, maybe telehealth, and asking me all these questions. How do you feel? And this, I'm like, I'm better than everybody because with this free time, I'm exercising every day. I'm plant-based. I eat my fruits and vegetables, like all the things. So he was just like, oh, wow. I ran 15 miles today, right? He was like,
Oh
oh,
Lord.
okay. Like, okay, never mind. Never mind. Like he didn't even know how to like speak to me
Yeah,
because
they don't.
I'm not your
Yeah, they don't
typical phone
have.
call.
Yeah, because it throws them off, and I could tell it completely threw her off because she kept trying to
Mhm.
say something about what I could do to improve high flashes. Because she's like, I wrote a book, and I said, oh, that's awesome.
Oh, she wrote a
And
book.
she's kind of telling me the do's and don'ts, and I'm, not really hearing me. And then it registered, and then she goes, oh, okay, okay, okay. And I told her, I said, the only thing that I do on your list is drink coffee. And I said, I may have a cup in the morning, and that's it. But
Mm,
it's the norm of people just accepting that we all are the same in our
yes,
habits, and we're not.
yes, yes. That we're the standard, we're the typical, and no, we are not. We are not.
Mm-hmm.
Athletes all across the board know that. So we're gonna wrap this up, Andrea. But a couple of things
Okay.
before we do. Um, you're spinning a little bit. I don't know what happened. Oh, I think it's
I
my
don't know.
computer that's bugging out. Yeah, I think it's my computer.
Okay.
A couple of things I would like to offer you, or maybe just tell you my story. I was listening to some doctor, and he was saying about how soybeans are very, very effective in alleviating hot flushes. And
Mm-hmm.
at the time, I was not experiencing them, and I told them a few of my clients who, okay, Carmel, thanks. And all of January and February, my hot flushes were waking me up at least 4 times every night. Very
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable. During the day, I
Mm-hmm.
was very uncomfortable. I'd be in a sweater, January and February cold, and then I would have to kind of like really strip everything off. Very, very uncomfortable. And
Mm-hmm.
but the soybeans were not a part of my meal plan. So I
Mm-hmm.
texted, I emailed my coach. I said, I have to start including soybeans. I have to see if it works. She was like, no problem. She worked out my macros for me, and she was like, go for it. I was having as little as 2 ounces of soybeans every night. And in about
Mm-hmm.
4 days, I was back to normal. I don't know if it I don't know if it was a placebo effect that I believed that it was happening so it could happen. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know.
No.
But I'd be remiss not to just share that with you and anybody else that might be listening. Soybeans, I had
Yeah.
to cook them for a long time. They don't cook like regular beans. I did soak them.
Right.
I got them dried. I soaked them. I cooked them for about 2.5, 3 hours. It's work. It's work. But was it worth it? Heck yes.
Yes.
Now I sleep soundly since the beginning of March. I've been sleeping soundly.
Okay. I'll give it a shot. I don't
Yeah.
have them as often as I used to, because when I started going through perimenopause, I just began prep. I just got back into being in, into into competing.
Right. So you were
And
like,
so
you said, okay.
and so I started taking dim wasn't helping, and
Mm,
I don't know what I've done to, like, I guess maybe just, eating soy products, which
yeah.
that, they
Yeah.
get a bad rap. But
Yeah.
I tell,
Right.
and I've had this conversation, and it's just like anything else. Do your research. Number one, doctor's going to tell
Mhm.
you the opposite of what soy is. They say that
Right.
it produces estrogen, but it's plant estrogen. It's not hormonal estrogen.
Right.
There's
Like
a
the milk
difference.
everybody's drinking. Yeah.
Yes, and it's like, how can that's such a hypocritical statement for someone to make who's a milk drinker, to tell me, oh, it's always bad for you. But yeah, I would definitely try that, because they have
Yeah.
tapered off. I don't have them as often, especially
Okay.
when I start depleting. They tend to like really go down. I haven't figured out what the magic is behind that, but yeah, I would
Well,
definitely
that's
try
so
it.
interesting. Yeah. So let me know if you do. And then I have a couple of rapid fire kind of foods to ask of for you or to ask of you.
Hmm.
So which would you prefer? Tofu or tempeh?
Tofu.
Blueberries or strawberries?
Blueberries.
Peanut butter or almond butter?
Peanut butter.
Beans or lentils?
Um, I can have both. I like both.
You like both. I definitely
Yeah,
would pick beans for that.
yeah.
Lentils, I can tolerate lentils, but I don't love them. I don't love them.
I make
And
I make a
lastly,
mean I make a
go
mean
ahead.
curry with them. I make a mean curry
You
with
know
them.
what? Yes,
The red
that's
lentils.
the red lentils. I like my
Mhm.
lentils best with a curry powder,
Mhm.
curry, like in all of those seasonings. Absolutely, 100%. I agree with you. When is your next show? Do you know yet? Have you picked a date, or maybe you don't want to disclose it?
Oh yeah, sure I could disclose it. Well, I definitely so I always do the show that I turn pro in, and it's called
Mm,
Legacy. And Legacy
legacy.
is the end of August.
Okay.
But I'm trying to decide before I do Legacy. I want to do a show before that, so I'm still trying to decide
You're still trying to decide.
if that's going to be an OCB show, which
Mm.
I have a goal to turn pro in OCB. I did the first time their December show, and so I'm looking into doing it again. I just don't know when, and that would probably be my first show,
Okay.
sometime in summer, August.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So
whenever your next show is, best of luck. Congratulations on your success thus far. Continue
thank
being an
you.
inspiration to young women and older women alike. I hope we get a chance to meet one day. I
No.
didn't tell the viewers, you're in Texas. Yeah, Houston.
Yes. Yes. Houston, Texas.
I love it. I love it. And that's where the accent is from. And you probably hear my New York accent a little bit anyway. But yeah, any parting words or
Well, I don't want the viewers to think that I'm coming off as being, you need to do this, do that, what have you. It's no different than, um, with myself making this decision to become plant-based, becoming a bodybuilder. It all starts with something inside of you telling you the choices that you need to make. Because the one thing that turns us off as human beings is someone who sounds preachy. And I
yeah,
don't want to be that way at all. I want people to genuinely find their reasons to do whatever it is to get you to that end point of health. Um, and then the whole idea of fitness, it doesn't mean you got to be a bodybuilder. Just move your body. Want to be healthy and make these changes and not just reach for the idea of popping a pill bottle and thinking it's going to fix everything because it's just a
yeah,
band-aid.
yeah.
But just ladies, hey, it feels good to be a strong woman mentally and physically.
Yes,
it
100%.
it feels good. It really just gives you confidence, a different kind of confidence.
100%. 100%. And Andrea, from this perspective, you never, not even a little bit, sounded preachy. So there's that you don't
Okay.
have to worry about. If somebody is sensitive enough that they're gonna think that you sounded preachy, this message is just not for them, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but thank you again for gracing my YouTube channel with your presence. Everybody that was listening, I don't know if Dexter's still around. Thank you for jumping on and listening to us yap about fitness and nutrition, vegan nutrition. And so, yeah, I'm going to put, in fact, I already put a lot of your information as well as your natural hair studio. That's in the show notes.
Thank
When you told
you.
me that, I was just like, I already loved her. And now I love her even more.
And I'm a
So
freelance makeup artist.
oh my goodness, I love that. So I put that information in the description as well as how to find you on Threads and Instagram. And so anybody who's curious about what Andrea is up to, you could go stalk her there. And so with that, that's it. Thank you so much again.
Thank you for having me on your platform. Really
Thank
appreciate that.
you. Oh, you're so welcome. Bye, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and hit that notification button so that you know whenever I come on and present another guest as amazing as Andrea. So, ciao, ciao, everybody. Bye.